Valerien Ismael has left his position as head coach of West Bromwich Albion. So there we are, guys. It has happened. Valerien Ismael and his assistant manager Adam Murray have departed their positions at the Hawthorns. Of course, we'll be getting all the reaction in this video and chatting all about essentially what the next steps are for Albion, looking at a little bit back on Ismael's reign. Obviously, this news has been announced quite literally 10 minutes ago, so I've been... I wasn't expecting the news to be happening today. I thought maybe in the evening it might happen, but here we are, and I thought I'd jump straight on and get a video out to you guys. But before we get into this video, please do subscribe. That would be amazing if you could drop a little subscription to us, and also keep an eye out for a video that's coming out later today, which is part of a new series called Fanfare, where I've essentially done a little phone-in on Twitter Spaces with all the Albion fans who have given their thoughts about Ismael, the transfer window, just the general state of the club. That happened last night, and I've recorded it, and it will hopefully, full video will be out tonight. So yeah, that'll be out later, so please make sure you stick around for that. But Valerien Ismael, as I said, has left his position as head coach of West Bromwich Albion. Assistant head coach Adam Murray has also departed the Hawthorns. The club statement is pretty short and sweet. West Bromwich Albion Football Club can confirm Valerien Ismael has left his position as head coach, and assistant head coach Adam Murray has also departed the Hawthorns. The club would like to place on record its thanks to Valerien and Adam for their efforts and wishes them well in the future. The process of recruiting a new head coach is now underway, and an appointment will be announced in due course. Well, let's not pretend it isn't the right decision. I mean, I'm a little bit sad about it, and I say that not the decision now. I just mean just the general, how things have gone. I wish things had gone a little bit better, and I wish that Ismael would have essentially been a better manager. Really, I guess is what I'm trying to sort of get at. Is I wish that Ismael would have managed just a little bit better, been a bit more flexible, and he's had really excited. He had a really exciting start to his time at the Hawthorns. Those first 6 games were unlike anything I think I've seen at the Hawthorns before, and it's a shame that it's worked out the way it has. But at the end of the day, Ismael hasn't managed us in the correct way, and hasn't managed us in the most aptitudable way that which Albion could move forward as a club. I mean, essentially we've gone backwards in our style of play, and things have got worse and progressively worse throughout the season. It's just, all I'm saying is it's a shame that it's gone this way, and it's a shame that Ismael couldn't have made more of his time as manager, and we couldn't have seen a better time and more of what we saw in those first 6 or so games. So he got appointed at the end of June. I remember doing the podcast about it solo. Almost, I think, just about a day after that appointment was made. And I was really looking forward to it. I was really looking forward to diving into Ismael and seeing sort of what he could bring to the Hawthorns. I was given rave reviews from Barnsley fans who understandably were very excited about his tenure there, and how that he could potentially be the guy to really drive us into the Premier League and keep us there. Looking back at my videos now, my video history, it was the 25th of June that I released the first podcast during Ismael's reign. It was called "Why Don't You Come On Over, Valerien," which was it's a cheap pun, isn't it, really? But it started off so positively, let's be honest. As I said on the Twitter space that you'll find out later if you watch that video that's coming out this evening, a 2-2 draw at Bournemouth looks a really good result, and it was such a hectic and sort of cohesive affair between two sides that are clearly going to be, we'd hope, we're battling out for promotion. It's not worked out that way, and you've got games against Luton that were thrilling. You've got Sheffield United, a real good victory. Blackburn was entertaining as much. If I look through if I'm trying to find the best bits, Cardiff 4-0 was a big result. I think that was one of the few games that I can hand on heart say that we deserved to win that game, along with maybe the Sheffield one. Bristol City, of course, as well. But other than that, it's been pretty drab, and I thought Coventry was a good game as well. Let's be fair. There were some good wins in there, but not enough. I'll get down to the facts now. It was not enough victories from Albion to even consider the notion of getting into that top, that top 2. And the form in comparison to somebody like Fulham, our attacking output, they're just worlds and worlds apart. Maybe that's because they have Mitrovic, and obviously we've got had DK come in on the 1st of January, only played 2 games and then got injured. But, let's face it, our attacking output is nothing like Fulham's. And the defensive mistakes, although very little defensive errors throughout the season, the best defensive record in the Championship, if I remember rightly, unless something's changed potentially in that department, joint best defensive record. I think we're going to go for joint with Bournemouth. But let's face it. We had a lot of time where there were no defensive errors, and all of a sudden over these past few weeks we've seen so many defensive errors creep in, and it's been quite concerning to see that possibly the strongest point of Ismael's philosophy, style, has essentially just been picked apart by errors, and that's become one of the weakest areas. You felt like in that Millwall game, that Preston game, it was all going downhill really. I'm really disappointed with how his reigns turned out. I think in essence the form was largely just terrible, to be honest. There was so much time during that reign where we were sat, essentially picking our teeth whilst watching Albion, which isn't what should be happening in the Championship. We should be playing a night. I can deal with nasty brands of football. I could have dealt with Pulis ball if we were getting the results. But at the end of the day, he's failed ultimately to get us and propel us over the line in that way. And he hasn't done the business for us, and it's a shame because, as I said, I wanted it to work. Anybody who's watched the channel for a while or heard on the Twitter space last night, I'm a big fan of pressing football. If I'm to pick a style that could potentially progress into the Premier League, it's probably pressing football. Quite often you see managers go into the Championship and you have to I have to you go into the the Premier League and you have to change your style. You have to change it because ultimately you're not going to spend as much time without the ball. I mean, it's difficult, but I'm really disappointed with the way that things have panned out, and it's a shame that things have worked out this way. We all wanted a long-term vision. We all wanted something. We all wanted something different, and we all wanted a long-term vision over 4 years. But Valerien Ismael, unfortunately, I do think there's a bit. Well, firstly, I think there is a little bit of blame to go with the players, but I do also think that he had to adapt at times during this reign, and I don't think he's done that well enough. And if there is somebody I'd like to see us take a long-term plan with, it's probably not Ismael, because I feel like he's too stubborn, and without moulding exactly to his style, then I don't think that it's going to happen. I'm really disappointed with it and upset with the way that things have panned out. And I mean, if we hear the rumours that have happened over the past few days that, we've actually sacked Ismael, but we've been unable to potentially pay him out. I don't know what's happened there. Obviously, they have sorted it out in some aspect. Maybe he's on gardening leave or something like that. But he's definitely on that. He's definitely out of the club, and he's definitely not our manager anymore. Interestingly, so yeah, I'm disappointed with the way things have panned out. It's the right decision. It is the right decision. The form of late, the performances of late have been absolutely unacceptable, inexcusable. The Preston and Millwall games, I think the Preston game was probably one of the. I say this as a younger supporter. I understand that I wasn't there during the 80s and when things were really rotten, but that was probably one of the worst games I've ever watched as an Albion fan at the Hawthorns, and I've seen some pretty dire stuff. I've seen Pardew, and at least I could sort of tell what things were trying to do under Pardew. But Ismael, over these past couple of games, it's not been what we expected. And let's face it, we've been sold we've been pitched a dream and sold a bit of a nightmare really, and it's disappointing, upsetting as an Albion fan. But Ismael, it's the right decision for him to go. It's unfortunate. It's not the way we wanted to pan things out. But at the moment, 5th place, you are 8 points off the top 2. There's not much chance of things improving. The form is drab. The goal scoring tally is pretty shambolic in comparison with the rest of the teams above us. We've got 10 less goals than QPR, Bournemouth, 11 less goals than Blackburn. We've got over 40 less goals than Fulham. So yeah, let's face it. The football hasn't worked. The style hasn't worked. We're all really disappointed about it, but we've got to move on now. But what worries me is that the same non-footballing brains that gave Valerien Ismael the 4-year deal are the same non-footballing brains that essentially will be picking the new manager, which concerns me greatly. And there'll be a video hopefully coming up very soon about exactly what manager Albion will be choosing and who it could potentially be, and we'll hopefully get some of your suggestions in as well. Obviously, it's the right decision to sack Ismael. I'm just disappointed personally. I was really excited for his reign, and you could tell my excitement in those early videos of how I hoped things would go. It hasn't worked out. It's a shame that it hasn't worked out, but we've got to move on now, and you just hope that things will get better. I mean, I don't, the players aren't at all without blame. I think that they deserve a bit of stick for the way that they've played throughout the time under Ismael. I think they've packed down tools far too early, but then again, his tactical nous is next to none. I was under the personal belief that he shouldn't really, he didn't need to come back to potentially manage training today because he could do it remotely. I mean, you could always predict what lineup he was going to go for. You could always predict what tactical selections he'd pick. But ultimately, he's failed in the task to get Albion in the right position to be promoted. And at the moment, we are on a free fall down the league, and it's the right decision that he's decided to go. What frustrates me is his lack of in-game management. In-game management for me is one of the most, you can pick your lineup to go out there, you can pick your tactics to go out there, but if you're drawing at half time, if you make a tactical change, that could be the one that wins the game. And for me, he doesn't do enough of that. So yeah, as I said several times, it is the right decision. Ismael should have probably gone earlier. Let's be honest, he should have gone after. Well, I say Preston game, but that was a midweek game, so we can kind of understand him staying in charge until then. Now, a new manager, get him in quickly, hopefully, and you can see him try to implement something between now and the next game. We will see, and we will see what happens. But I don't particularly trust who is making the decisions at the moment, because they're the same people who have essentially put us in this mess by giving a largely untried and untested manager the platform to essentially just throw away 4 years worth of wages. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But obviously there'll be a video coming out of some potential candidates. Drop your comments down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I assume that we're all most Albion fans are aligned. This is good news for the club, and hopefully, I do worry about the decision making, but ultimately this was the right decision. But that does bring me to the end of this Baggies Podcast YouTube video. Make sure you subscribe. Check out the Twitter Space video later on this evening. Of course, we did reach 1,000 subscribers. I haven't mentioned that in a video yet because I don't think we've done one since. But thank you very much for helping me get to 1,000 subscribers. It does mean a hell of a lot to me, and I really appreciate your support on the videos. And it means that potentially this could turn into a bit of a business for me. So thank you very much for subscribing, and comment your thoughts down below. I'll see you in the next video, which will be this evening, of course. But yeah, we'll see you then. Goodbye. Thank you.